I have a question for you. Are you tired of the clickbait on YouTube, especially in some photography tech channels, especially when they talk about, blank user switches to blank user or uses the Fuji for the first time for clicks and just pure clicks and really no real content in that? Raise your hand. Yeah, thought so. Now, this is something that I used to do back in the day, pretty much for the same thing. I did think there was some education behind it, but I knew it got a lot of views. And then when I realized it was very, very clickbaity, I stopped. And you haven't seen me do that since. And that's really when a time where I was transitioning systems, especially from going to like a Nikon system to a Canon. But really nowadays, people are literally just lying in videos. I'm not going to say anyone or anything specifically to get views. And I get it, it's YouTube, but it's also not really helping the public or you guys and girls who watch these videos because they're not necessarily genuine for the most part. There are some that are, but the one big thing is you'll see like, Sony user switches to Fuji or Canon switches to Nikon. And then all of a sudden in videos from there on out, besides that review that they did of the newest camera that came out, they're still using their older gear. And then when they get questioned like, hey, what happened to this? They had to go, oh, I just send it back. Well, you didn't switch, you did a gear review. So let's just forget about all the YouTube and garbage and all those type of videos and blogs that regurgitate that same type of headline and stuff like that. And let's talk about like a kind of a real discussion on this and not concentrating on views, but like, why should you switch to a different thing? And that is a common question. Should I get a Sony a6400 or a Nikon blah, blah, blah? I'm a blah, blah, blah shooter. So there's a practical reason that people ask these questions and they go to these videos and they see words that don't really inform them. So I really want to just talk about a progression and give you real world things of kind of what I went through to maybe assist people who have this actual question and need more of an actual answer. And one of the biggest things is saying like, is switching or getting newer cameras bad? Absolutely not. The people that put that down I think are pretty crazy when it comes to that, because if you feel like you're being limited out from whatever current brand or camera you have, that's the reason why there are more options out there for other things. Like, once again, I'll cover what I'm going to say in a second, but it's not a bad thing. It is not a horrible thing. Is it a bad thing to have the newest and greatest to come out? No. Is it needed? Probably not. But the biggest thing, who cares how you spend your money? Don't let anyone tell you elsewise. And don't care what they think. I'm a Nikon user to kind of a Sony user to a Canon user to now a Fuji user. And I basically just went through the entire line. I started with the Nikon D3000 when I first started. And I used that back in college because it was very affordable. I was able to get the kit at like a Best Buy for a very affordable price. And it was just simple to use. I didn't really have to think about much. It mainly wasn't auto until I learned about manual, exposure triangles and such. But it was just easy to use, and I think entry-level cameras are very important into getting into this, getting into the field. So that way you can at least get hands in. You're not spending a ton of money, but you're able to just start shooting. And then past that, the Sony a6000 came out, and I said, you know what? I want to concentrate more so into video at that point. So I had like the Sony a6000. I did upgrade to a Nikon D750. Before that as well, when I was doing more weddings and second shooting mainly at the time. But yet again, the D700, sorry, Nikon D700, didn't have video. I wanted to concentrate more on it. You're very limited with the D3000 line. So like, okay, Sony a6000, you could start to do a lot and concentrated on from there. So I still had a Nikon camera and a Sony, and I was concentrating more on the Sony line. I got like the a6300 when it came out. But it was just getting to the point to where I was just like, I don't know where I want to go. I want to concentrate more on video, but I really want to enjoy more shooting, and I enjoy shooting more with the Nikon stuff. So then I eventually went into like the Nikon D750 because it kind of had a great blend for everything. It had a good video, and it had, it is one of my favorite cameras that I've ever used as well, because I was able to use a tilt screen for like wedding stuff. And I really enjoy being able to have that versatility. Even though I didn't like tilt screen shooting before, it pretty much became something that I look forward to now and that I do miss on the X Pro 2. Hopefully it'll be on the X Pro 3. And then from there, I wanted to concentrate more into YouTube per se. Still with shooting, so then I went Canon. And Canon, always been good for video. The dual pixel autofocus, which, this Canon M50 has here. That's why I like to use this stuff as one of the best, if not the best still on the market. Then past that, I really dumbed down everything I was doing. I stopped doing a lot of weddings, events. I didn't need DSLRs anymore. I really liked doing more street stuff, more casual shooting. And then I went Fuji. So really it was the progression of just starting out. Nikon was a really big name. I liked what I was seeing from like the D3000 from reviews and stuff on the internet. And then I concentrated more into, I wanted more videos. Then I went more into the Sony, then really into Canon for the video stuff. Got down to the photography a little bit and then went back to the Fuji. So it was just a really of progression of what I needed to shoot, photo or video, how I felt like I was being limited in regards from going like crop to full frame, because basically since I went full frame with like a D700 as like my primary shooting camera, I always had full frame. I had the D700, the D600, and then the D750, and that's kind of where my Nikon stuff ended up. I did own like the D800 for a quick time. I sold that real quickly though. But I really liked what full frame offered. But nowadays, a lot of the stuff is the same. It's all bland. It's all about the same now. So there's really nothing a ton that sticks out. And I just really like what Fuji does a lot right now. But that being said, I'm still using a Canon for video. It just depends on what you want and you need. Don't let others tell you what you should or shouldn't be doing. Make your own informed decisions. And these whole influencer thing of, Canon user tries Sony for the first time. Cool. I mean, I could kind of see it, but does anyone kind of care though? For this video, I'm bored of the same stuff as you guys and girls are as well. Seeing the same videos when they're not 100% true for that matter. But I do want to say there are actual valid reasons into wanting to switch and why people choose to switch. I mean, obviously there are, but you don't hear a lot through these videos. But what are your thoughts down below? Are you tired of seeing all this kind of same stuff and blog articles too? Let me know down below. And more of an important discussion, if you want to, why did you switch systems? Why did you switch from like Nikon to Canon or Canon to Sony, which is one of the biggest jumps out there? Let me know down below. I think that's an interesting discussion. But I'm just as annoyed as you, for the most part, on the same Hippocratic, whatever it is, types of videos that are really not educational.